more of a. I can understand it because you know how some people get temperamental about kid-friendly shit.
For sure, but I want to
But
make sure everyone understands and knows from the jump. I'm not kid friendly. I might have 3 kids, but fuck that shit, dog. I gotta say the real stuff. Unless my kids are around, then fudge that stuff, man. I gotta say the real stuff.
eh, we have taught my 3-year-old that it is all dada words that she don't say.
Facts. I
But
don't
yeah,
know,
right
man.
next to dude, you can tell I live in the middle of damn nowhere. Next to my gaming setup for my PC is a 1911 and 10 millimeter and an AK-47, both fully loaded.
Jeez, you're ready just in case the war does pop off. You're like, yep, just let someone knock on my door. I'm answering back with a
Just in
bullet.
case that Tarkov shit decides to start in real life.
Hey, big facts, big facts. I wish you could share your screen with me, but right now, for some reason, I have a big ass black bar in front of my screen. Oh, there we go. I got
Well,
my screen back good. What were you saying?
and unfortunately, I don't have a camera. That's the only thing that sucks.
Dude, the camera's fine, dog. I mean, podcasts
I
are
need to get
usually
one eventually.
recordings of voices anyway.
Well, you're not wrong, but I still need to get one anyways.
For
It
sure.
would probably help out a lot.
A little bit, a little bit, a little bit. One thing I will say is... Fuck, I lost it. Oh well. I was about to say something and then it immediately flooded my head. I was like, no. It was like, not that.
Yeah, I hate it when that happens.
It happens to me all the time, every day. I've had a long day though, for sure. Thank God I finally got a day off. It's been hard to find a day off during Christmas. You know, I'm trying to get all those hours to get all those gifts, but eh. Oh,
Yeah,
no. I know what I was about to say. So, my youngest just started talking, right? Even though my middle child has
yeah.
not started talking. And her favorite word happens to be the N word. So, halfway through
Oh
a
no.
conversation, my baby mama will be like, nigga. And then my daughter will immediately be like, nicka. I just be sitting there looking like, stop, please, no.
It's like, oh no, shut up.
Yo, she
Stop
tried to
saying
blame
that.
it. She tried to blame it on me though. She was like, "You totally teaching her these bad words." I looked at her and I was like, "She doesn't live with me though, so she has to be hearing it at home quite a bit. Come on now." It's all right.
It's
I
like,
understand.
she ain't hearing it from me. She lives with you.
I was like, she's clearly hearing it from me. You know, she comes over to Georgia every night. Every night, she makes that 6-hour drive herself. That little girl's a trooper.
Yeah, no kidding.
Right? Jesus.
Jesus.
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
So, to my understanding, sir, you build guns. How hard is that? And how'd you get
Oh yeah.
into it?
It's actually depending on what you're wanting to build, not too difficult. The hardest thing I work on is AKs.
Really, man?
They require a lot more. I would call it physical adjustment. They are a lot sturdier and not so easily put together.
Really? Well, it's good to hear
Yeah,
that they're actually sturdier, though. Lord knows.
Well, I mean, the thing about AKs is like unlike AR-15s, where you can actually the way the barrel is connected to the receiver is with a what they call a barrel nut, which is something that you literally screw onto. You slide the barrel into its slot, make sure the dimple lines up, and then you put the barrel nut on and tighten it down, torque it down, and there you go. The barrel's on.
Yeah.
With a AK-47, you actually have to have a press to put the barrel in, because when you put it into the front trunnion, you actually have after the trunnion's in, you have rivets in it. It's riveted to the gun. There's no taking it back out without getting rid of the rivets.
I was about to say, how do you fucking clean that?
And
But yeah.
so you need a 2-ton press to put the barrel into the trunnion, into the receiver, and it just takes a whole lot of know how to get the barrel and the chamber lined up correctly, so you get proper head spacing and all that. It's kind of a pain in the ass if you don't know what you're doing. Unfortunately, when I started working on them, I had no fucking clue. But that's the beautiful thing about AKs: you can build it wrong and it'll still shoot shit.
Really? Fuck.
Oh fuck yeah!
No, like
Dude, there are videos
misfire
of people
or, like...
bending.
Yeah.
There are videos on YouTube right now of people bending the barrel of a freaking AK into a horseshoe, beating it back straight with a hammer, and still hitting what they're shooting at.
Word. Oh shit, that sounds fun though. I mean, not
Yeah,
bending it. That sounds like a bitch. But Shooting it.
That's also very expensive because contrary to what people think, AK parts are not cheap.
Really?
They're actually very, very expensive to make. The only reason they were so cheap from communist countries is because the communist countries spent a massive fortune on mass production.
Yeah.
Uh, that's the only reason they were able to actually get ahead of them and make the cost so low. Russia really got ahead on that, and when China bought or China did whatever deal they had to do to make their own version of the AK, Norinco was the big one, and they immediately got Russian equipment and started copying the equipment and the machines and the toolings, and that makes it a lot cheaper. Over here in America, we don't have access to a whole lot of those toolings or those dies or anything like that without having them being made here, and that is actually a lot more expensive because they're not in mass quantities. Those countries produce those weapons by the thousands
Well,
in
listen,
a
man.
shift.
I don't mean to sound racist or communist or even a sympathizer of communist stuff. I would trust a Russian gun better than a American-made gun probably any day. But when it comes to China's weapons, I still don't trust them. I don't trust anything from China. I hate to be that kind of guy. I'm not racist or anything like that. I just don't trust anything from China. It's cheaply made.
The only thing I don't like about Chinese weapons,
Yeah.
and unfortunately, it's the same thing with everything nowadays. Build quality suffers a lot as the years go on. Like
Yeah.
my 1911, I have right here. I'll empty the chamber. It's a great gun.
Yeah.
It's a modern 1911. It was built literally 2 years ago. This gun
By you?
is. What's up?
By you? It was built by you?
No, this was actually a gift from my wife and the rest of my family for a birthday.
Oh, damn.
The 1911s are a lot more intricate than I like working on. They require a lot more fine fit bit filing, and they're great handguns. But one thing a lot of people tend to overlook is that they do happen to jam quite often due to tight tolerances if they are mistreated or not lubricated properly. 1911s can take a lot of abuse, but if they take too much, they will jam. They will have issues. Any weapon, you beat on it too much and abuse it, and suddenly that gun is now temperamental,
Yeah.
to say the least. And
At any point, it becomes
a
brick until you clean it.
Yeah, back in the day, 1911s used to be a lot sturdier. They had to build them in mass quantities, so for the war effort back then, they were able to slide a little looser on some of those tolerances. They were able to get away with a few other things that now modern people want, like really tight tolerances. They want that trigger to break like glass, which is literally what 1911s are known for. I mean, you literally pulling the trigger on a 1911 is supposed to be like pulling on a little thin piece of glass. You just want it to snap. And that's what they're all known for. But those tight tolerances come with issues. The AK has a lot of loose tolerances. The AR-15 has a lot of tight tolerances, but AR-15s have a few workarounds that help it out. It's not a long stroke gas piston system. It's a direct gas impingement. It is a whole other complicated system that I actually don't mind working on. I've been around so many AR-15s, M4s, M16s.
But M4 is a nice fucking gun, though. Shit, I've always been
they're all
recommended.
nice. It's just after a while you tend to get a little bit, oh, hey, look, an AR. Or, oh, hey, look, an M4.
True. I lose this luster.
With the AKs, if something's not working, I can usually fix it with a hammer.
Yeah.
I mean, it literally, I can beat it up against a tree and it'll start working again. I can literally take where some of my AR-15s would cost a couple $1,000s. I'd feel really bad about throwing them around, beating them up.
Oh, hell yeah.
Not because they couldn't take it, but because I got a lot of money in it.
Yeah.
There's always that chance that something can and will happen. And it's like, And I don't want to do that. With the AK, it's like, fuck it, truck bed. Let's go.
Hell yeah. That's
You know.
that anytime, anywhere kind of gun.
Yeah, I mean, it really is. I like to refer to AKs like I do Glocks. Uh, they're both not the prettiest looking things in the world to some people.
Yeah.
I happen to like the look of a Glock. They're great handguns. But
I don't know,
just
man.
like the AK,
Something about the curve in them for me, man.
the Glock can take a beating. You can do damn near whatever you want to it, and it'll still go bang when you pull the trigger.
Hell yeah. One thing I was looking into recently is another cheap, I guess, handgun gun, which was the Hellcat.
I've actually heard a lot about those. I got my hands on one for a little bit. Unfortunately, I uh, wasn't able to actually get any shots out of it.
Yeah.
But guy let me hold it. It was his everyday carry. He had it set up with a little Triticon red dot.
Ooh.
Um, it was nice. He had a flashlight on it, little red dot. It was a nice little gun. But the only issue I have, um, with the Hellcat is for just a little bit more, you can get a lot better gun.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people say that.
And that to me, now I get it. If it's all you can afford, then it's all you can afford. Go for it. I'd rather somebody have something than nothing.
Especially these days.
That used to be what the Derringer was. Back in the day, the Derringer was built as a
Dude.
pocket pistol and the pistol for people who couldn't afford a revolver. The revolvers were expensive to
Well,
make
I mean,
back
I
in the
got a
day.
Derringer, man. Something about the way that click of the trigger, something weird, man. I don't know. It just feels different than regular guns.
They're
Maybe
built
it's
to
because it's glued
literally.
down, you know?
I really like to compare those two as a get off of me gun. If somebody's on top of me, stick it right up against them, pull that trigger twice, and get them the heck off of
Hey, true shit. I
it.
know that's right.
Whereas if I'm carrying something like my 1911,
More like a get back
if
gun.
you get that close to me, I'm a shitty shot. My 1911, this one in 10 millimeter can hit you up to 150 to 180 yards with
True.
somebody who knows what they're doing. It's 10 millimeters is a very powerful caliber. It's rated right up there with what they would consider 41 Magnum,
God
just
dang.
just under 44 mag. It's a very heavy, hard hitting caliber.
Huh.
Um, it's actually really popular for using for handgun hunting.
You know, a lot of people are actually going handgun hunting these days compared to, if a rifle or even an AR,
Well,
At
I
least
prefer to
around
use
North
a.
Carolina.
Yeah, you will see a lot of places that do that because a lot of your handgun ammo is actually cheaper than your rifle ammo.
For sure.
Um, I've got so many hunting rifles that I designate for hunting that it's kind of stupid for me to say, oh well, I just use this handgun for hunting. The 1911 is literally my carry around the farm gun.
Yeah.
If I'm outside doing stuff, walking around, this is on my hip. It's a very large gun. It's hard to conceal.
Yeah.
And if I shoot it, every neighbor around me is
It's
going to
about to
hear it.
hear. Hell yeah. He's about to shake
Yeah.
his shimble. Well, Lord knows, I got some questions I wanted to ask you. What are your thoughts on Georgia's gun laws?
Actually, I will say this: they've been the best out of most of the U.S. We still have some bullshit.
Yeah.
Uh, I would really like to see some of this stuff disappear, as far as like having to have a concealed carry permit,
No,
no open carry without a permit.
I've been recommended.
Um,
Whoa, there's no open carry in our state without a permit. The fuck?
in the state of Georgia, as it stands right now, you are not allowed to open carry a handgun without a concealed carry permit. That actually, if the cops in the state really wanted to push that, that actually includes a knife with anything greater than 3 inches of blade, because that
It's
is a
hard.
concealed weapon.
True. True.
They don't call it a firearms permit like some states where it's a concealed firearms permit or a firearms license, or that. In the state of Georgia, it's a concealed weapons permit. Any weapon
I
that
didn't
can
know
be
that.
concealed, you
Except
have to have that
nunchucks.
permit for.
Yeah.
Well, I mean that depends. If you use them against somebody, it just depends on how the court's going to look at that. You got to
Well,
hope to
I heard that was
God they don't railroad.
an illegal weapon, unfortunately, because I do practice nunchucks on my free time and all this stuff. I was looking in
Um,
getting a new practice pair, but when I moved down here, I looked up the laws, and it's this state, North Carolina, and California, and like four other states that have nunchucks as a lethal illegal weapon that you just
well,
cannot have.
in the right hands, they are a very lethal weapon. You got to
Fuck
think
yeah,
the number one death for most people in the U.S. isn't even firearms. It's not stabbings. It's blunt force trauma.
big facts.
A lot more people die to somebody beating them to death than they do getting shot.
I can believe it. Like shoot,
And
unfortunately,
nunchucks are just a really good way to beat somebody to death.
I mean, you come up to the right motherfucker, yes, for sure.
Exactly.
But you come up to someone that
Uh,
doesn't know how to use it, they're beating themselves to death.
exactly. It's just one. But at the same time, I could hand my handgun to somebody who don't know what the hell they're doing, and suddenly I'm not the one endangered. They're
They are.
missing a foot.
Yeah, yeah, that's big time. One thing I
You
will
know.
say is I've always been recommended to go get a concealed carry from the state of what is it, freaking Virginia, instead of the state of Georgia, and Georgia will recognize that just as good.
Georgia will recognize every state that has a concealed carry permit. There for a long time we wouldn't recognize not California, because God, getting one there, you either got to be rich or
Yeah,
be blowing somebody in the state office.
yeah, they're
But
not fucking with it in Cali.
South Carolina actually would not recognize Georgia's concealed carry permit for a long
Hmm.
time, because in the state of Georgia, you don't have to go through a school. You don't have to go through a course. The state of Georgia sees it like this. You're an adult. If you have a clean background, no criminal history, no mental illness history, nothing like that, you pay your $75, you do your fingerprints, voila, you're done. They see you like a responsible adult. Some states like South Carolina, North Carolina, and all them want to baby you and say, we don't think you're intelligent enough to do this. You must go through this course and pass it before we'll give you one. And so South Carolina wouldn't recognize our concealed carry permits. So the state of Georgia said, well, fine, if you're going to arrest our people for having a legal concealed carry permit and you're just not willing to recognize it, then we're not going to recognize yours either.
I mean, that's only fair.
And thankfully, that actually put a stop to a lot of states that were doing that crap when the state of Georgia started saying, look, we will arrest and fine anyone with a concealed carry permit from South Carolina because we will not recognize their concealed carry permit. We have that right. And a lot of other states said, oh, crap, okay, we don't want no trouble. You're good.
Yeah, facts.
And South Carolina finally got some of the FUDs out of their office, out of their state office, and they backed off of that. They are now recognizing it, and they're a lot less harsh on guns in South Carolina now, but still kind of some bullshit compared to Georgia.
True, true.
Um,
I hate to change
like,
topics so quickly, but have you driven through South Carolina?
I've been all over the lower 48.
Okay, just making sure. Jesus Christ, what the fuck is wrong with them, dude? Why they drive like that?
Basically, it's like that everywhere, man. You would think one
Somewhat.
state would be worse than the other, but I'll be honest with you, man. Drivers are basically the same everywhere you go.
I don't know, dude. They don't know where the fucking fast lane is, man. Every time I go through South Carolina, man, I get in a fast lane for 5 seconds, and then someone is driving 48.
I attribute that to the South a lot,
Yeah.
thanks to growing up down here and traveling as much as I have, being a truck driver.
Hell yeah.
That I do notice that more in the South, that we down here tend to be a little bit slower going. We don't really get in that much of a hurry unless it's dire.
Yeah.
Uh, you tend to run into the grandma doing 45
Hell yeah.
on the interstate just because she can or she can't see. And that's one thing I do see as a big problem. There's a lot of people driving on the road nowadays that honestly, I may hurt some feelings saying this, but most people don't need a license.
Oh, dude, I felt that way for the longest.
Being a truck driver, I have seen people do some of the stupidest shit.
I feel like they should have an
And
offensive and defensive driving course to go along with the regular course.
honestly, I've always believed if you want to get a driver's license, you should have to ride with a truck driver for a week.
Yeah.
You should have to be designated to ride with a truck driver for a week and see the crap that other people do. I mean, people don't even think about it. Most people going down the interstate doing 80, 85 miles an hour will just whip out a cell phone
Hell
and
yes.
start texting.
I
And
pass
then the
people and
next
see
thing
that
you know,
shit.
you look over and they've got two kids in car seats in the back. And it's like, okay, I get it. It's your choice. You can do whatever you want. If you want that ticket, that's cool. But at the same time, if you make one wrong move and you're next to a tractor trailer or another vehicle, your life ain't the only one in danger.
Fuck no.
If you want to kill yourself because you got issues, you want to do your own thing, cool. Go ahead. Be crazy. Drive however you want. Drive however you want. You got the money to pay them tickets and them jail fines, go ahead. The moment you
Guys,
got
plus the
kids and other
insurance
people in the
rates.
car, you shouldn't do that.
Very true. Very true. Words of wisdom. Unfortunately, we're at our time limit. We're going to have to take a small break and then we'll get right back to it, okay? Thank you for joining, everybody, and tune back in.